I just realized didn't record my mic. It's approaching, we got 15 minutes till 4, but I'm really liking how this 15-minute candle is forming. The 5-minute as well is looking quite nice, respecting this BISI. And again, because the momentum's to the long side, ideally that's where we're going to be looking to get in. So looking for we've already missed this move. So again, like what we saw in here, just being a little bit patient. If we had just waited to get in there, would have been a nicer fill for us. But we're just going to try and see, look, we're closing above VWAP now. This move below VWAP was pretty short-lived. So I think this is going to be the indication where we just continue to push up higher based on all of this. The 4 hour as well, we had that move down there, the hourly, all the high time frames, like everything's lining up, which is really, really good. It's high probability conditions right now. So I am actually going to take this trade on the TakeProfitTrader account as well. Just waiting here. This 15 is definitely going to be telling. We want to invert this if we can. Push here. So we got in about here. Stops are about here. So more than likely we're going to go to on this buy position in here. So we're going to buy 2 right here. Stops right below here, which is a good spot. So last few seconds here on this 15-minute. So we do have one trade left. See how this one closes? If we get a nice closure, if we close sort of bearish, might just have to cancel this one a little bit earlier. Don't need to give back majority of this profit if it's not looking ideal. I think I did get in here a little bit early. I should have waited for this 15-minute closure. Like anything can happen, especially on NQ in those last few seconds. So I do look to have gotten here a little bit early, which is a bit of a shame. We're still closed bullish on the 15-minute, but it's not a very strong bullish candle at all. I'll flick this to 5. And again, this hour will be the telling time frame. Lighting's gone a bit off for us here as well, but looking like we're starting to get a nice reaction here. There we go. Should be okay now. Very nice reaction here. So we are going to look to take this trade on the TPT now. See if we can get a better entry here on the 30. I don't think we are. We're just going to take the 6 lots in here. Market. Buy. Did go in a little bit heavy. Probably could have waited a little bit for a slightly better entry, but that's all right. Wanting this inverted fair value gap now. Sorry, we want to invert this, is what I meant to say. This FEG. Again, could have just waited till we got into about here, but that's okay. Looking for 300 on the risk for this account. We got in a bit too heavy for just not being patient. Like we could have just scaled in 2 here, maybe added another 2 and so forth. But just wait and see. Ideally, our target now, there's the daily liquidity. This is Monday's new day opening gap all the way up in here. And we'll just manage on the top step as well. Ideally, we invert this. This more than likely is what we would want to be seeing for the hourly 4-hour closure and all that. We'll look to take one off at this high here that we've just made. So go limit, sell. Take one off if we can get up to here. We'll put our sell stop just below this low here as well. It's probably a little bit, we'll actually take it a little bit higher. Probably don't need to go that low. So there's our stop in here. Definitely wanting this fair value gap to be inverted. This main one as well, wanting this to be taken too. But momentum of the day, well, hopefully that will be enough to ride us forward for the time being. I'm liking where stops are here for the time being as well. Just looking at the higher time frames here. Let's check the hourly, the daily as well. Yeah, very long way to go. So we've got this daily liquidity in here. I think with all the momentum, we'll look to take one off here. Then I'm actually quite happy to leave this other one as a runner. I've just got to be mindful for 7. So we're just going to get out at 7 o'clock because I do think that 8:30 news is going to be a really good driver to at least test the new day opening gap. We'll have all this low resistance liquidity in here that we're building up to. So Definitely not looking to hold on to this one for a while. I was watching a video from David Paul as well. Unfortunately, he has deceased, so rest in peace. But he was a old trader, and he's just got a lot of gems on psychology. And he talks a lot about how in any other sort of investment, we're sort of told to just hold on. If it's property, if it's general stocks of like a company, just buy and hold and then check it in like 5 years time. But as traders, especially intermediate traders on the shorter time frames, it's really just buying, holding for a short time, selling, getting your profit, and then looking to do that over and over. So I think I'm holding on to that mentality of just buy and hold and set and forget. But in this fear that we're trying to do, it doesn't really work too well. We'll just monitor for the time being. Can't move stops to break even just yet because we have all these gaps in place. I probably should minimize this risk though. Let's do that. And we'll check in a bit. So it's been a few minutes. I was just checking in, reflecting on the mistake that I made in the TPT account. I just went in way too heavy on the risk. Wasn't patient enough for the entry. It's okay to go heavy with 6 micros when price comes down to a key level that we're interested in, but to just jump in straight away, there's a bit of FOMO there. That's the reflection. It's okay to FOMO into a trade, but just take lower risk if that's the case. Because there's been multiple times where, it was pushing up like this and it could just absolutely jet. Even with a 2 or 3 micro position, if it does fall like that and you're FOMOed in, it's still going to be good for you, right? I think it's just that greed element as well, because if you have like a 6 micro position and it jets, you're going to be making bank. But I definitely can't be thinking like that. That's an error on my part. I think this is going to be like about $300 actually, if we do get all the way down here. So that's just going to be a tough one to wear if that is the case. Yeah, I'll probably have to stick to that loss limit target. We already said 300 and just come back again next week, or maybe if there's a clearer setup occurring. Ideally, we just push up from this point, especially as 4 o'clock is coming. We haven't come anywhere lower towards like the new day opening gap. We've got VWAP resting higher than the gap as well. Asian session lows as well, all the way down here. So I do think 830 is probably the play for that. Or maybe we don't even come back here at all. Like we just continue to absolutely rip. So who knows? We're getting a nice push now, which is good to see. Check back on the TopStep. So just got to be mindful of these zones in here. Ideally, we like want to check on a 5 minute. These levels are going to hold just a little bit more weight. Adjust our stops again to this low now. Really working on that risk management side of things. I think that's what's letting me down at the moment. There's been a few trades which we've called out, have gone well in our favor and just not capitalizing on the moves, just letting them sit as potential. I really want to work on that in my trades coming into this year. So let's see how this last 5 minute goes. Hopefully 4 o'clock we get a very nice push to the upside. The TPT account is probably the one that I'm going to be monitoring the most. If we can get this to a decent position to be able to have our stops at break even, then we can just focus on that. I'm inclined to keep this one as a runner one because we've already up on the day, and yeah, especially if we can get to break even, there's really no risk on the table. I'll happily take a $210 green day for, the account size and just working on building up the habits. So this was a funded account. Let's say we had 5 accounts all linked together. Well, there's one winning day and $1,000 for the day today. So that's what I'm trying to work on, not trying to go on these home runs anymore. They're great when they hit, but consistency is more important. This we can consistently do day in, day out. If we lose, we're only losing 200 or 169 or whatever it is. But if we're going for those Hail Marys, yes, we have the potential to make a few grand in a day, but we also have the potential to lose it as well. Capital preservation is the name of the game. So keep working on that. I'll keep my eyes on here for the time being. I'm going to mark out this level. Right, we are approaching 4 o'clock now. 4 is just hit. Big spool to the downside on the open. Hopefully this is all erased in this first 30 seconds. If not, we're probably going to be pushing lower, which would be not ideal, but it is what it is. We've accepted the risk, right? To push to the downside, seems like we've respected this SIBI for the time being. I think because the move at 3, like majority of that move was to the downside, I think 4 still being that reversal profile, we still get that push. Maybe that was just a little suck in, but I could be wrong. There's definitely still momentum coming in. But usually, like on that first minute, you see a big spike of, or see a big, excuse me, spike of volatility coming in. So that VWAP respected it here. Honestly, if I had more trades available, I'd probably just look to add in there. It's a nice spot. We've respected this. VWAP sitting here, taking out these lows, like all these factors combined right now. It's pretty much your power of three, like on a micro setup. We've got liquidity resting here. We've already had an expansion, but now we've taken this out, taken out the liquidity. We're looking to push up, hopefully get a closure above these highs, and then looking for a retrace in here, and then look to add into the position. But still early days. I'm just being a bit preemptive right now. I've got to chill out on that. Recognize that no one knows what the market's doing. I don't know. Could just absolutely dump in the next minute, you know? Everyone's caught on side. And just being okay with that. We're not here to predict the future. Just here to take what's in front of us. So another push down in here. Just check the profit trader. See if this 30-second we can respect this. Probably look to adjust stops here as well. Does look like we're gearing to potentially come a bit lower. Yeah, we go. This busy in here that it looks like we've been respecting for a while, but this last few seconds, I think we do push down, maybe take out and come into here. Still just respecting for the time being, but I don't like that we've already started to. You can tell a lot by the way the candle behavior goes from the start. So as soon as that candle opens, yeah, if we have a gap or we see an obvious movement to one direction, more than likely that's where the candle is going to finish. So we had that move to the downside, more than likely this candle is going to close bearish. Unless we obviously take out liquidity or reach a point of interest and then we react from that. But for the most part, if we've had that reaction to the downside, more than likely that's where the candle is going to close bearish. And then hopefully if we can get a bit of a reversal, see a wick on this candle, and then the next candle we get a push up, that would indicate that we're closing bullish now. So let's see if we respect that 1 minute level in there. If we can start to see some pressure up, we should close bullish. But let's wait and see. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about with that patience, right? That limit order should have been in there. Our 6 stops right here, and then looking for that move up. It's not actually too bad because it is on a 1 minute time frame. The distance isn't going to be that bad. If this was like a 15-minute or an hourly and we just got in and didn't wait for all the way down here, you could argue that, okay, well, that's a pretty big amount of space and you could have just been a bit more patient, but we will wait and see. As I was saying before, we should hopefully close bullish on this candle. And then the next candle, let's see if we can get some bullish momentum straight off the open. Let's have a look. So I don't like that it was bearish at the very start. We saw it go bearish first. Yeah, see? So that's like a pretty good indication, but because now trend is on our side, we've reached a point of interest level, we could see it flip. That could have been a trap to get people to go short more, and then the buyers take over. So let's just wait and see for the time being. I don't know why, but the top set just looks a bit cleaner. So I'll stick to this for now. Give the trade some time and some room to breathe, and we'll check in a bit. Okay, given it a little bit of time, but I'm not liking that we have taken these resting highs again, and then it looks like we're peeling down lower. Let me just wait for this candle to close before I make any comments. Just wait the last 10 seconds and we'll see. Okay, so with that closure, I'm contemplating just moving stops to break even here. The reason being, we've reacted off here, but we haven't had that explosion to the upside, which would indicate higher prices. We still have gaps all the way in here, right? Even though on like a higher time frame, it is looking quite bullish. I am just mindful, like even on a 5, we still have these civvies, and we have just tapped above here, and we're still respecting all these levels now. So this really is a power of 3 in the other way as well. We have all this accumulation, we go take it out, and then we have displacement down in the opposite direction. We close below this low on a 5, and this would be like OTE to get back in short. Now, it is counter trend, but I'm just working on that capital preservation, right? And the reality is, if I'm wrong and we are more bullish and keep pumping, we shouldn't come back to this level anyway. The chances of this coming down, wicking these lows, and then continuing higher is quite slim. If we're coming down here, more than likely we're going to take out this low too. I think based on all of that, we are going to go just above here to break even. So cut that risk, only risking $27 now. We'll come back to the TPT account. We're about halfway on the sort of 700 we need. We're needing this to be at 53,000. So everything's looking good for the most part. We're going to adjust the risk to this low here now. We're now at that point of interest on the 10 minutes, wanting to invert this. And we've also got a 1 minute up in here. I'll just check if we're at on the 5. Yeah, it's the same spot on a 5 minute here. Ideally, if in a minute we can get enough momentum to push above this, it's going to give me a lot more confidence to let this trade just continue moving, hopefully. Check the 30-second actually. Last 30 seconds here. So it did push down on this last 30. Ideally, if this might suck people in to go short, and then usually we see that like buyers just get involved and absolutely rip this up. But if we just see wicks around these highs and things like that, we're not closing above, then could be an indication that we come down to fill some of this before we continue up. But ideally, we just disrespect and just keep pushing up now, right? 5 minutes for the 15-minute closure now as well. So we go back to TopStep. Yeah, everything's looking decent for the most part here. These 1 minute levels here as well. So on our side now, we should see anything supporting shorts disrespected. That was from my mentor, JCap. He talks a lot about how the higher time frame will always prevail when it comes to SIBs and FEGs and order blocks. So if your higher time frame is long, then anything on a lower time frame supporting short or bearish movements should be disrespected and vice versa. So if the higher time frame is going to the downside, then all opportunities to get in long should be disrespected. Now, after we've had this reaction, bodies are closing above 50% of this wick. You've reached that weekly imbalance as well. Tuesday already took out Monday's low. I think we've taken out Tuesday's low today as well. So yeah, we took out Tuesday's low. Hopefully for the rest of the week, we should just be pushing up and up and up. I think all these levels get taken the next few weeks. Trump's about to be elected in like 18 days. He's already established that he wants to make it a pretty crypto positive and stock positive. I think the US dollar in general is going to have a bit of a surge once he's in office. Combining all those factors gives us enough narrative for higher prices, but we'll just have to wait and see. We're sitting at about halfway on where we need to be for the TPT accounts, which is good to see. Still gaps in here. We did get a bit of a worse fill on this account, so just being mindful on moving stops to break even here. Got a volume imbalance. I like stops where they're at now for the time being. We've already tested this, so if we're coming down, more than likely we're going to rip straight through. But we are reaching these levels, and as I said, all of these SIBs and things like that should be starting to fail. But we'll just wait and see. On the 5 minute, we have inverted this SIBI, as we were saying before. All these levels should be disrespected, and we're just seeing now if we continue moving to the upside. New highs there, which is good to see. We're on the TopStep as well, so yeah, we can definitely go break even now. Just sitting above, which is good news. We probably should on the take profit as well. So we'll just go to break even here. This is a great position to be in on a trade, as we've said before. If you can get to this point, that's pretty good. At a bare minimum at zero. And that's a win really as a trader. If you're not losing any money, even if you're not making any like capital preservation, you're in for at least another day. So yeah, it's good to be in this spot. I think today's been a really good day. And that's it, just balancing out. Like you are gonna have those slumps. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have good weeks, bad weeks. December was a terrible month. A lot of that was just lack of structure, lack of planning, lack of sleep. I think that all stemmed from the previous months being really good and thinking that you don't need to do the same things that you were doing before. okay, I'm past that level. I don't need to train anymore. I don't need to stretch. I can just show up on game day and perform. And it's just not the case. You know, the LeBron Jameses, it's Tom Brady's, Cristiano Ronaldo's, people that have just been doing it for years and years. They don't get to a point they're like, I don't need to do this anymore. It's every day is just let's put in the work. So yeah, I really want to make sure that we keep working on that for 2025. Really, like no emotion. Whether you're winning or you're losing, it doesn't really matter. It should get boring, as a lot of the high profitable traders in the space say. Trading should be boring if you're doing it right. So I really want to get to that point where there's no emotions. It's just this is what we do. This is the process, and we're just following it. Right now, we're sitting at about. I should probably move my face just so that you can actually see everything that I'm saying. At least now you guys should be able to see time and all that stuff. So let me just. Apologies here, guys. Okay, I think that should be calm. Let me go back to this. You guys can't still see that. It's a mission. Okay, let's do that. How are you looking? Okay, I think we're good. I think that's okay now. Beauty. Sorry for that, guys, but at least now you can see what I'm seeing on both platforms. So it's sitting at about 360 on the TPT here. Ideally, we take the current London highs that we've made. We just check the higher time frames as well now, just making sure that we're still on side with everything. This 4 hour, if we can close bullish in the next hour, 40 minutes, that's ideally what we want to see. So what time will that be? 9, so that'll be about 6 a.m. New York time will be the next 4 hour closure. So ideally, if we can be getting up to these highs in here, that's what we'd be wanting to see. Check the hourly. So that was a nice closure at that 3 o'clock. Had a bit of manipulation come to the downside. Very nice that we got out when we did. And yeah, just getting back on side for the main move as anticipated. So we've got a 5 minute BISI in here. This has my point of interest for the time being. I don't think we take this trade. I would be looking to scale in, but we've only got one left on the TopStep. I just don't think it's going to be worth, to be honest. I need a pyramid criteria, as I was saying before. So I haven't backtested that enough. I do need to work on that before I come in for the capital because we're just going to be doubling our risk. Our entry is going to be moved higher. And if we take a loss after this, it's not ideal. But Asian session highs here. I'll just mark out this 5 minute BISI and we'll just wait and see. There's nothing on the lower time frames to indicate. Maybe check the macros. So there's like a 30-second imbalance in here. It's super clean to add in another partial. Do we risk it for the biscuit? 5 minutes, 30-second. It's got VWAP sitting here. To be honest, I don't like how steep we're coming down right now. So that would can that idea. We'll be patient. We'll just accept what we have now. Just be grateful as well. Don't need to be rushing for more. Leave everything as is. Come check in a little bit. See how we're going. This 5 minute closure on this side is looking quite nice. We've erased all of this. We did take out this little low in here. So even if we had that order ready to go to pyramid in, probably wouldn't have achieved much. So it's okay. I'm glad we didn't really do anything. We'll just wait and see. Hopefully we can take this high where we're sitting at. We put the limit just a little bit under because sometimes you can get to the point where we don't fill. We just run up. It's a bit sad. I've seen that happen so many times where you have your TP here and it just runs to here and then melts. So we'll just be patient for the most part. Looks like we're coming down once again. Might look to take out this low now, maybe bounce off here, but we will just wait and see. All right, we are back. And there was our 5 minute move that we were talking about. So maybe if we had a limit order, it might have been on, but what I will do now, probably be looking to adjust our stops. got all these levels in here. As I said before, if we're coming all the way down here, the chances of us getting into this 30-second volume imbalance and then reversing is quite low. But everything on the higher time frame is pointing that we are still pushing up, which is good to see. This 15-minute closure as well, respecting this BISI. All in all, it is looking quite positive. I didn't realize that we actually had a 15 right next to us too. Pyramid might have been warranted, but especially with the limited amount of trades that we have, I'd actually recommend doing this. If you have a TopStep account, work on this trade limits. At first, I hated it because I was like, why am I limiting myself for opportunities? But it forces you to be very selective in the trades that you do take. I'm actually enjoying using it so far. Hated it, but learning to love it. Looks like we are pushing up now, which is good to see. Probably look to adjust our stops to about here. Just slightly under, probably under VWAP would be the safer bet. Usually we find a bit of support on that level. So let's check the 1 minute as well. On the 1 minute VWAP is still there. I think here is still the play, to be honest. Because even in this move here, they're still in premium. We go from this swing low to this high here, this bullish move. We're not even at 50% yet. Yeah, moving for these lows, I think we're just going to be cutting ourselves a little bit short. I just got to be patient. I think that's what I'm fighting now. It's nice to document this. So the emotion right now that's coming up is maybe FOMO. I just don't want to lose the profit, but then I'm probably acting out of fear. So rather than being fearful, let's be hopeful now that we're in a winning position. Tom Hoogaard talks about that in Best Loser Wins. Losing traders are very hopeful when they're losing. So when a trade's going against you, they're hopeful that it's going to turn around, and they're not like fearful of, okay, this could actually get a lot worse in cutting the trade. And in the same breath, for winning trades, they're fearful the market's going to take away everything that they have. And so trying to flip that, right? Be fearful when you're in a negative position. Don't be hopeful that it's going to reverse. Be scared. When you're in a winning position, be hopeful that this win is going to materialize more and more. You're already on side with the market. That doesn't mean we hold for the moon and expect that for the next 3 days we're going straight up. For your target and key levels you're looking at, be hopeful that we're going to get there first before we see that reversal. But if not, it's fine. Still got everything where it needs to be. Stops at break even and whatnot. Just got to be mindful of that. Okay, we're at this spot again, and now we're talking about the reversal profiles coming into play. And then obviously at that like sort of 50% premium discount levels that we were talking about before, I think we're still going to push lower. I'm glad we didn't move our levels. I'm actually considering taking this partial right here. We have this reversal candle now at 50. There's our entry. We're going to take it. We're going to take it and move stops back to break even. Here we are cutting ourselves a little bit in the foot by taking that. I think that's actually fine to wear the $40 loss here. Still having these 1 minute levels. We've got VWAP and everything as well, acting as a bit of protection. I'm a bit worried about this volume imbalance though, to be fair. So we'll just watch how price wants to react. But we're seeing these reversal profiles. We just hit 50%. We're at the ASH now. I've just got to be mindful on how quickly this comes down. If it's coming down too quick, I'm just going to move stops to break even. The opportunity was there, especially after drawing that fib level out and seeing where 50% was. Didn't make sense that we would just stop here and then push higher because we weren't at equilibrium. So right now at 50%, the body's still respecting. I've got to keep my eye on the chart now. So if I see this start to absolutely spool to the downside, we'll just move our stops to break even here. So I'm going to move stops to break even, and this will be our last trade for the day. Frustrating indeed. Let's see how we react on this. I think this is going to be similar. So break even on here as well. We could potentially spool a lot lower than where we're at right now. Just make sure all orders are off. If we do reverse from here, I'm going to be kicking myself. Going against what I said once again. I'm still happy with that move. The reasoning was there to take that trade, especially on that 50% and everything that we said before. Respecting VWAP here. We went to the 79 level. There was that volume imbalance that we were talking about. Let's wait and see. We did come down pretty steep, to be fair. So we'll just wait. But yeah, no, look, I'm glad. Still break even for the most part. We'll take that for the day. We're locked out on this account, so that's fine. That's a win on the top step, so happy with that. Break even on the take profit trader as well, so no complaints there either. Let's check on a lower time frame. So really this would be our invalidation point. If we get down to here, then we were going to take a loss anyway. So we'll just watch and see. I didn't like how steep this movement came as well. I mean, we really have no reason to be down here, right? After all of this, we've now inverted in here. And then we'll check the OTE on this one as well. Yeah, so the 79 retracement level here too. Damn, same thing. Come check in a little bit, see if that was the right move or whether we shot ourselves in the foot a bit here. I think we shot ourselves in the foot. That's okay. I think it was just stop loss placement on this one. I'm not really bummed at all because we still were break even at the end of the day. It was a risk that we were willing to take and we mitigated that risk because potentially if this was flooring now and we took out all these lows and we took out a big loss, that would be the same situation that we were saying before that I wanted to work on. Having profits and then just giving it all away and being negative. At least in this case, it's just a net zero. And as I said before, capital preservation is the goal. So I'm not bummed. I think the only thing that I'm bummed about is that I said to myself I wasn't going to do it. I said, nah, I don't think it's viable. To be fair, market conditions did change, but that initial plan, I had an idea and then I went against that idea. And this is just what happens. Obviously, different rules, parameters, if you didn't have trade limits, whatnot, it'd be a different story. But with what we have, I'm still happy with the way that we managed that trade. It looks like we've gone up. We do have this 30-second level in here. So I might be getting in a little bit early again, but I just like this reaction. This is a 30-second imbalance here, and then we also have the 1 minute imbalance in here. Still all respecting VWAP, and then now looking to push back up. So I think we're just gonna have to let this one go for the time being, which is super frustrating. 15 minutes still respecting in here. Super frustrating, but what do you do? I'm feeling myself get a little bit like, we should have had that. So I think that's a signal to just leave. We'll call it for today. I'm still happy with that. Break even on the TPT and then up $200 on the top step. We will likely, because there's news and I'm just liking the way this is playing out, I might contemplate staying up. I don't have anything planned. Oh, tomorrow's Friday. So I can take this trade at 11:30 today. It's just for tomorrow's session I'm going to be trading. So I think with that in mind, I will probably look to trade the 8:30 tonight and expecting that news to run all of this, right? Because we're still just building low resistance liquidity. You could draw like a retail trend line pushing up. I think 8:30 just absolutely floors that. We run for the new day opening gap. We've got this level in here. That's my key point of interest. The midpoint of the gap, we've got a 15-minute, 10-minute, and I think there's another. We've got an hourly BC resting just above, but I think maybe on a 30-minute. Yeah, and then a 30-minute BC as well. Resting right in here. So I don't think we get too much higher than where we're at now. I think maybe we take out the current London highs. I don't think we're going to be pushing for this liquidity. If we do, the chances of us coming back down here are quite slim. So I think we just take this high and we just peter for a little bit for the next few hours. Ideally, we're probably going to start that in here, maybe in this wick for the next hour or so. 7, we look to come up, potentially move down. Just before 8:30, we run up, find a SIBI, 8:30 news. We're probably going to react off here and then 9:30 open, come down to actually fill this all out and look to push higher. That's my prediction, but we will wait and see. Thank you for joining me on this London session. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Please consider subscribing, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.